That's a really good question. I feel like the introduction to endurance sports starts at the youth level
Mm,
for the BIPOC community. And to be honest, the sport in itself is incredibly welcoming. However, at least on the youth level, like just being I'm a first generation Indian American, and I feel like for like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the first thing, the first things that you need are like food, shelter, and clothing, before like you kind of like climb that pyramid of like self-actualization. The only reason why I'm talking about this is that like endurance sports, something like long distance running, in the greater essence, it's kind of like trivial, meaning that like,
mm,
you kind of need your basic necessities essentially have to be met before like you even have like an equal opportunity to like pursue endurance sports, like on the youth or high school levels. And there is a disparity between, urban schools and their resources that are invested into like a sport like cross country, versus a like a private school or a school in a like a very like it, where like the socioeconomic status or like the living wage or the earning wage is like very high.
for sure.
um so there's that natural disparity, and as a result, the kids in urban communities, they're not going to like running camps during the summer. They're not counting the mileage on their shoes. They're counting like months, before they could like get a new pair of shoes. So things like that creates like a bridge. So I always told, and I remember just trying to get recruited in high school. I ran like a 9:32 2 miler, which isn't D1 worthy. Like most D1 schools are not going to contact you,
Hmm.
but coaches need to understand like, hey, like what's their like ceiling really? Like what's their background really? Like who is coaching them? Like did they
Yes.
have the resources? So sometimes coaches or college coaches look at times and they're like, hey, we want this 920 kid. But that 920 kid might have been running cross country since middle school and went to running camps and had parents that were like all in for their like running endeavors, versus like a kid that just started very late and is like trying to get their bearings together. I would, if I had to invest into one kid or the other, it would be the latter, because I feel like that kid's feeling is just, okay, you're like 12 seconds off. But if you really get to know that kid and where they come from, who coached them and what their attitude's like, there's just so many dimensions to that.